Hey guys, we're going to be reviewing subtraction with borrowing. And so I wanted to just jump right into a quick tutorial on how to do it so that if you are comfortable doing this, you don't have to stick around and watch the brain pop. But if you still feel like you need more work after going through a couple of problems, then you can stick around and watch the brain pop afterwards. So let's take a look at our sheet here that we have. You can see I started with an example of a double-digit subtraction problem that does not involve borrowing, 54 minus 32. Anytime you're subtracting, just like when you're adding, you always want to start in the ones column. And the first step to subtraction is to make sure that you have a bigger number on top. If you have a bigger number on top, on the ones column, then you can just go ahead and subtract. So 4 minus 2 is 2. We're going to go ahead and plug that number into the answer under the ones column. And then you move over to the tens column and you have 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is also 2. So our answer is 22. So that's basic double-digit subtraction with no borrowing. A little bit harder moving over to double-digit subtraction that does require borrowing. So again, same first step. We have the problem 33 minus 15. Our first step, always start in the ones column, is to make sure that you have a bigger number on top. So we have a 3 on top and a 5 on the bottom. We have a bigger number on the bottom. That presents a problem for us, so now we're actually going to need to borrow. We have to go over to the tens column, and we need to borrow a whole group of 10 from the tens column. It currently has 3 groups of 10. We're going to cross out that 3 and drop it to a 2 because we're going to borrow 10 whole numbers from that column. And we're going to take that 10 and add it to the top number of our ones column. And so 10 plus 3 is 13. An easy way to remember it is to just put a 1 in front of whatever number's at the top of your ones column. And that seems to work and it's easier to remember. So now that you have 13 on the top and 5 on the bottom, you have the bigger number on top, so you're all set and ready to subtract. So 13 minus 5 is 8, put your answer in the bottom, and then 2 minus 1 in the tens column is 1, so our answer is 18. Let's look at another example over here. We have 47 minus 18. First step, always start in the ones column, and we check to see if we have the bigger number on top. I have a 7 on top and an 8 on the bottom. It looks like our bigger number's on the bottom, so we have to borrow, because I can't take 8 away from 7. There's not enough in 7. 7 is lower than 8. So I'm going to go over to the 4. I'm going to cross it out, drop it down 1 number to a 3, and that group of 10 that I'm taking from the 4, I'm going to add to the 7. Just put a 1 in front of that 7 to turn it into 17, and now I have a bigger number on top. 17 minus 8 is 9, and then I go over to my tens column. 3 minus 1 is 2, and my answer is 29. In our final example, we have 66 minus 28. Again, repeating the same steps, we are going to start in the ones column, and we check to see if we have the bigger number on top. If it is on top, then we can just subtract and we don't have to borrow. Unfortunately, it looks like we have a 6 on top and an 8 on the bottom. 6 is smaller than 8, so we have got to get a bigger number up there. So I am going to borrow from the tens column, and I'm going to change that 6 to a 5, drop it down 1. I'm going to borrow that group of 10 and give it to the ones. So that turns into a 16. I put a 1 in front of it, which is adding 10 to it. And now I have 16 on top and 8 on the bottom, and I'm ready to subtract. 16 minus 8 is 8. 5 minus 2 is 3. So my answer is 38. Looking good so far. Hopefully you guys are feeling you're able to solve these. If not, continue to stick around. I do have the first subtraction with borrowing math page that you guys are going to be required to do here in front of me. So let's take a look at the first two problems on the sheet, problem A and B. If I look at problem A, I have 35 minus 17. I'm going to look at my ones column. I have a 5 on top and a 7 on the bottom. I have a bigger number on the bottom, so I have to borrow. I'm going to go over to the tens column. I'm going to change that 3 to a 2, and I'm going to change the 5 to a 15 by adding a 1 in front of it. Now I have 15 on top and 7 on the bottom, and I am ready to subtract. 15 minus 7 is 8, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So my answer is 18. All right, one more problem we're going to do together, and then you guys can finish this page on your own, or you can stick around to watch the break pop. All right, here we have 58 minus 29. I have a bigger number on bottom. 9 is bigger than 8 in my ones column, so I'm going to have to go over to the tens column and borrow. I'm going to cross out the 5, turn it into a 4, take that group of tens that I'm borrowing and give it to the group of ones. So my 8, if I add 10 to that, it turns into 18. Awesome. Now I have a bigger number on top. 18 is bigger than 9, so I can subtract 18 minus 9, and that gives me 9. And 4 minus 2 is 2. There you have it. We have gone through all of our practice problems, so here's the brain pop if you feel like it is going to be helpful for you.
Oh no, I lose 5 points. How many points do I have? I have 14 points, but I lose 5. Subtract the numbers in the ones place first. Wait, how do you subtract 4 minus 5? You can't subtract a larger number from a smaller number. How do you regroup with subtraction? When you regroup, you gather 10 ones cubes and trade them for a tens rod. You can also take a tens rod and trade it for 10 ones cubes. You can borrow a 10 from the tens place and turn it into 10 ones. Now we have 14 ones, and we can subtract 5 ones. And we're left with 9 ones. So 14 minus 5 is equal to 9. The soccer team has 45 raffle tickets to sell. They've sold 8 so far. How many do they have left to sell? Subtract 45 minus 8 to find the answer. Subtract the ones place first. It's not possible to take 8 away from 5, so we have to regroup. We can borrow 1 10 and turn it into 10 ones. Now we have 15 ones, and we can subtract 8 ones. That's equal to 7. Now subtract the numbers in the tens place. We had 4 tens, but we regrouped 1 10. So there are 3 tens. 45 minus 8 is equal to 37. A store has 62 robot toys. It sells 9 of them. How many are left? Subtract to solve. Subtract the ones place first. Borrow 1 10 and regroup it into 10 ones. Now subtract the ones place. What is 12 minus 9? 3. Now subtract the tens place. We had 6 tens, but we regrouped 1 10. So there are 5 tens. 62 minus 9 is equal to 53. Sometimes you won't have counters to help you regroup. How do you regroup with subtraction without counters? Grandpop bakes 24 cookies. Moby eats 7 cookies. How many are left? Subtract 24 minus 7 to solve. Since you have to borrow a 10, cross out the tens place and subtract 1 10. Then regroup and add 10 to the ones place. What is 14 minus 7? 7. Now subtract the tens place. 1 minus 0 is equal to 1. So 24 minus 7 is equal to 17. When you subtract without counters, it's easier to write the sentence up and down. But always make sure you line up the places correctly. First, subtract the numbers in the ones place. Since you have to borrow a 10, cross out the tens place and subtract 1 10. Then regroup and add 10 to the ones place. What is 11 minus 6? 5. Now subtract the tens place. 8 minus 0 is equal to 8. So 91 minus 6 is equal to 85. You can use addition to check your answer. What is 85 plus 6? 91. I know my answer is correct because the numbers match up. It's always a good idea to check your work. You won? But you have fewer points than me. Wait a minute, that spot wasn't there before.
There you guys have it. Good luck on your math page today.